Imani ya Bwana iwe nanyi. Wale wengine habari zenu. Please nipungie mkono juu ya hewa kama unanisikia. Say hallelujah. Tell your neighbor I love you. Hey, not me, your neighbor, please, your neighbor. Tell your neighbor I love you. I love you. I love you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you this morning. It's Democracy and Human Rights Festival 2021. Of course, this is the final festival under Wajibu Wetu Phase 2. Tell your neighbor it's going to be fire. Not me, my brother. Tell your neighbor it's going to be fire. Round of applause, and if you give a round of applause. Keep on clapping, keep on clapping, keep on clapping. Corporate power! Corporate power! Corporate power! Corporate power! We just let's look to battle. I want to get the feeling, the ignition. It's a wonderful morning. Blessed morning. I want to feel. Yeah? Corporate power! Corporate power! Corporate fever! Forward democracy forward! Forward democracy forward! Forward gender equality forward! Forward gender mainstreaming forward! Forward the human rights forward! I don't know if you're getting a I want to see your smiling face. I want to see your smiling face. Just to remind us, and gentlemen, that COVID is real. Please make sure you put on your mask properly. And those sitting closer to each other, you can try as much as possible put on our mask properly. If you can't, please ensure you see a social distance. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're just about to start this amazing festival. I'll be your host, MC001, MC Songora. Clap for me, please. Keep on clapping. Yeah? Keep on clapping. All right, I'm going to warm up the finest band from Mombasa. I introduce to you a Nika band of the Young Republic of Life. Just about now, I will tell you a secret about Aneka the band, all the way from Mombasa, the Holy Sub-County. Keep on clapping, ladies and gentlemen. And everybody, please, give me something to try to Aneka the band. You can just migrate from where you are. Play the music. Gentlemen, a round of applause, keep on clapping, A wonderful blessed morning, ladies and gentlemen. And in the band that's from Mombasa, just remind us, this is Democracy and Human Rights Festival 2021. Of course, we are revitalizing democracy and rights. Kama kawaida. Congress power! Congress viva! Congress power! So ladies and gentlemen, we want to start the session this morning, and as always, I request we all rise onto our feet. Tusimame tafadhali, we all rise onto our feet. Wow, I can see all the ladies are beautiful. Clap for yourself, please. Gentlemen, please appreciate the ladies, they're beautiful. I can also not leave you behind. Also, the men are handsome. Please clap for them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to be very patriotic as we start this important festival. As we say, it's going to be fire. As our patriotic Kenyans, we love this country. And of course, we have to sing the national anthem. So, tusimame wima, we are going to do it in style. Because Anika the band comes from Coast Region, Mombasa County 001. They're going to do it in Swahili. So we all sing in Swahili. And then immediately we conclude the national anthem. We will go to the East African anthem. Wangapi wanajua? Wangapi wanajua? If you don't know, no problem. You can just smile. There's no problem. You are in a mask so no one can see you. Yes. Just make sure you do this. Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, about now. Msoma wima. Attention. Aneka the man. Attention, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we know, we are celebrating democracy, human rights festival. As a country, we are about to get into the electioneering period. We have mixed reactions. We must always remind each other of why peace is important, why we need to promote our resilience as Kenyans, and therefore, the band on our leaders this amazing song by one Eric Wainaina. And this must be participatory, ladies and gentlemen. We must all sing together. I want to feel you as we sing this song together, reminding each other of how important it is for us to maintain peace in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, Anika the band. Anika the band, take it away. What is participation? What's the ignition? All right. And if you say people starting with you know, yeah? Right. Yeah, I love that, my brother. You're good. You're good. We sing together. All right. ladies and gentlemen, and applause for the band. Keep on clapping. What you see on stage this morning, ladies and gentlemen, this is true transformation. Tell your neighbor, this is transformation. Transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth be told, these beautiful and handsome young people, all the way from the Police County in Mombasa, are here courtesy of Wajibu program. Of course, with the support of the Swedish Embassy in Kenya. These young people, they have a story to tell. From difficult backgrounds, broken past, victims of gender-based violence, perpetrators of juvenile crime. And today here, propelling the message of patriotism, pushing for peace building, conflict transformation, the change you want to see, supporting and promoting UN Resolution 250, youth as active peace builders. And of course, also the young ladies are also adding value to UN Resolution 1325, women as active peace builders. They have been there, they have lived it all, they have a story to tell. So the juicy part of this is, at their own level, they had some hidden talent, scattered of ForumCiv. They're here today united. Mr. Gentlemen, a round of applause for ForumCiv. Keep on clapping, I'll tell you what. It's a finest part from Mombasa, and it's here today because of the support, sustainable support and commitment by ForumCiv for the Wajibu program. These gentlemen, ladies, were supported with live band music equipment. Ladies and gentlemen, wapigieni makofi tena ForumCiv. There's always been a challenge in Mombasa. People say young people in Mombasa don't have talents. The truth is, they have talent, but they don't have spaces where they can upgrade and tap their talents. The first time ForumCiv had made it possible. And today we have a story. How they're from Mombasa, they're here doing amazing work. Is it true or false? Keep on clapping them. The next part of it is they're sustainable, and now they're in the process of doing what is called inter-county activism concerts ahead of general election. Want to prevent violence in this country. As young people are misused as perpetrators, causing mayhem, propelling the conflicts. But now we have young people who are using alternative means, using art as a tool to show change, using music to influence change amongst the young people. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Keep on clapping. Say thank you to ForumCiv. Say thank you to the Swedish Embassy in Kenya. Of course, Anika will be here with us for the next 5 days. They have their own composed songs, promoting gender equality and mainstreaming, promoting the culture, and of course also the boy child. So you're going to listen to amazing songs of the band. So just about now, ladies and gentlemen, we want to do another prayer song for this country. Mungu Baba tuwaomba, and then we'll let Anika go and continue the program. Are we ready? Are we ready? Yeah. Are we ready? Yeah. Tell your name it's going to be fire. Tell them it's going to be fire. It's going to be fire. All right. Anika, the band. Anika, the band. Democracy and Human Rights Festival 2021. This is the final festival under our Wajibu program phase 2. We want to ask ourselves, should we continue? Am I metosha? Today? All right. We go. Anika, the band. Please let us sing together. This song is very popular. Just pray for this country. There's someone seated there. That's our donation. We go. Anika the banda. right, what happened? Yes, we love the song. Let us sing. All right. We are the one now, Lord, I choose it, yeah. My oh my, my Lord, President's my president. My oh my, I know you have the power now. Ask your neighbor, how do you feel? How do you feel, my neighbor? Ask him again, how do you feel? Thank you, Anika the band. Thank you for that performance, gentlemen. Now, I want to take this opportunity to welcome on stage a representative of the planning committee for this year's Democracy and Human Rights Festival. Clap for them, ladies and gentlemen. Sina Pendeza. There has been a team that has worked tirelessly ensuring that we're here today. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together As I welcome Sister Wendy. Keep on clapping, please. Keep on clapping, yeah. Keep on clapping. Strength of the woman. Strength of the woman. Keep on clapping. Hey, keep on clapping. All right. Bring it up to please. Microphone, please. Keep on clapping. Keep on clapping. Yeah, hold on, man. All right. Keep on clapping, brother. Yes. Don't get tired. Keep on clapping. Ready? All right. Wendy, take it away.
Gentlemen, my name is Wendy Ongare, and I'm here in front of you on behalf of the Planning Committee for this year's Annual Democracy and Human Rights Festival 2021. First, I'd like to say thank you for honoring our invite with your presence in this auditorium today, and also for those who are joining us streaming live from across the world. As we know, this year's theme is in terms of revitalizing democracy. And as the stability and resilience of democracy come into question, we have a myriad of activities lined up for you throughout the week, from the different intersectionality of the different artworks and even the art forms, and the role that they play in invoking active citizenship. We shall be also looking at the role of the youth in terms of participatory democracy, the resilience of women and how history chooses to remember women, and also movement and movement building. So we hope you're going to engage throughout the week, and that out of this forum, we can be able to engage meaningfully even as we head to the election come 2022. Lastly, we know that as a country, we are heading to our elections come next year, August. And we might say that maybe what is supposed to invoke hope might be invoking fear in some of us. But we believe that our resilience and our hope will push us through. Thank you very much.
Make some noise. Make some noise. All right. Strength of a woman. Is that gentlemen? As I see you are still heated, you know. The civic nation, so I don't want to cool down. Don't want you to cool down. Ladies and gentlemen, now I want to bring on stage this finest, very committed and sustainable musician, well known all the way from Kisumu City. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Embassy! Keep on clapping, keep on clapping, keep on clapping. I don't feel you. This side, I don't feel you. Yeah, I want to feel you. Yeah, keep on clapping. Embassy, Democrat. If you're a fan of Embassy, Jamani, piga makofi. Yeah, I love you. I love you.
Apesi mnyama mkali. When I say apesi, you just say mnyama mkali. Apesi? Apesi? So I'm from Kisumu, and Kisumu nikisema oyaure uru, nasema oyaure. Oyaure uru? Oyaure uru? Yes.
Vera hii kabisa.
So where I come from, sisi tunapenda mziki sana, because this is how we express ourselves and this is how to tell our own stories. So I want to teach you some words and some tunes. So when I say oya ore, you just say oya ore oko, oya ore.
Oya ole oko.
Siwasikii.
Oya ole. Oya ole.
So it means that it's a bright morning and it's a lovely morning. I'll be performing. Basically, I do a genre called Trad Urban, a fusion of tradition and urban sound, just telling our own stories and speaking on things that people can't speak on our community, such as just telling youth that there's no need to react. Maybe if there's something happening in the community, there's no need to throw stones. There's no need to fight. We can address these issues through music. We can address these issues through dialogue. We can address these issues just through talking and through having the right vibe. So I want to do a song called Sio Lazima. In 2007, we had a post-election violence, and it really affected Kisumu, where I come from. And ni vijana ndio walitumiwa kurusha mawe, vijana ndio wanatumiwa. Why inakuanga that if post-election violence imekuja, the youth ndio wanakuanga the tools for violence. But it's a time to change the narrative and tell them that we know what's good. Si lazima tutumike tupewe 50 bob na tuharibu supermarkets na tuharibu places where maybe our relatives wanafanya kazi, si ndio? Mko tayari? Kila mtu ako tayari? Kila mtu ako tayari?
Kuna mtu mzalendo anapenda nchi yake, anapenda jirani zake, napendi pia balaa na wazilala njaa, ana marafiki zaidi ya ndugu zake. Sio lazima,
just a simple chorus.
Sio lazima, sio lazima, sio lazima.
You can follow me on all social media platforms. Apesi Mnyama Mkali, everywhere. Apesi Mnyama Mkali. Mnyama Mkali. Apesi Mnyama Mkali. Apesi? Mko tayari? Kama mko tayari nione tu mkono mmoja tu juu.
Kuna mtu mzalendo anapenda nchi yake, anapenda jirani zake, napendi pia balaa na wazilala njaa, ana marafiki zaidi ya ndugu zake. Sio lazima, sio lazima, sio lazima, sio lazima.
Kuna mtu mzalendo, anapenda nchi yake, anapenda jirani zake, na pendi pia balaa na zilala njaa, ana marafiki zaidi ya ndugu zake. Sio lazima, sio lazima, sio lazima, sio lazima, sio lazima. Sio lazima tupigane, ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima tugombane, ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima turushe mawe, ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima tupigane, ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima tubebe rungu, ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima kila mtu, sio lazima. Sio lazima. Na wewe unarusha mawe ukitafuta haki yako, na wewe unabeba panga ukitafuta haki yako, na wewe unakuja ngumi ukitafuta haki yako. Sio lazima ukuje ngumi ndio upate haki yako, sababu utalalata faidi ya wenyewe, bado amekuchanganya ukisubiria welele. Sio lazima, sio lazima, sio lazima. Na wewe unawasha moto ukitafuta haki yako, na wewe unabeba panga ukitafuta haki yako, na wewe unakuja ngumi ukitafuta haki yako, na wewe unabeba mawe ukitafuta haki yako. Sio lazima ubebe mawe ndio upate haki yako, sababu utalalaja faidi ya wenyewe, bado amekuchanganya ukisubiria welele. Sio lazima, sio lazima, sio lazima, sio lazima. Sio lazima tupigane ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima tugombane ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima tuseme ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima, sio lazima, sio lazima.
Vijana sio lazima, si ndio? So I want to welcome one of the best poets we have around, my brother from Nakuru, Willie Oeba.
Don't waste coming on stage now. Tumeingia pamoja. Appreciate. Before we go to the next piece, I want us to chat kidogo. All right. Please appreciate this gentleman. Appreciate this gentleman. Pigeni makofi na salamu. Keep on up, please. All right. Appreciate. Mimi nimekuwa na mshawasha hapo nyuma, niliwaambia nimekuja katikati ya performance. Before you go to the next piece, you know, this song has spoken to my heart. Deep inside, I feel it. As a Kenyan, 2007, young people caused mayhem, looted, they destroyed properties, they even killed. True or false? Are we in agreement? Yeah? Me and you, right? Why is this song so important now?
It's very important now that different styles. Now it's only the youth that work on the move, because the youths will have energy, we still have it. So it's either that energy will be positive or negative. When you put that energy into a positive thing, outcome itakuwa poa. When you put that energy in a negative way, like being used for violence and throwing stones, burning, because walichoma mpaka ma supermarkets, walichoma places watu wanafanya kazi. So many people ended up being wakapoteza job, wakawa unemployed, because now we see our own parents, our relatives, our friends, so at the end of the day, most of them died because police were using force. Yeah. So this song is so gentle because it speaks to that youth in Convening. That youth in Convening, that it's not a must. That
wapi mwingine? Wapi mwingine? Dandora, wapi mwingine? Wapi? Mandare, wapi mwingine? Mayore, wapi mwingine? Mario Bandi, wapi mwingine? Kisani. You love this song. Every time I get to speak of this song, I want to tell us now which part of this song makes you want to sing it again and again and again.
Na wewe unabeba mawe ukitafuta haki yako, sio lazima ubebe mawe ni upate haki yako, sababu utalala njaa mfaili ya bwenyenye bado anakuchanganya.
So that part
Utambue wewe unasaidia hapa. Kuna watu wamefloat, sio? Wanasikia nini sasa wana float? Utambue unasikia utalala njaa mfaili wa bwenyenye kuandika kwa lugha ya nadhari. Ndio that in exam. Una Kiswahili imeandikwa tunajua andika kwa lugha ya nadhari. Alama ngapi? 4. So for the Kenyans, they want to understand what you mean.
So it basically means that there's kuna daily unapata kuna life yako.
All right.
Kuna shida zako. At the end of the day, you go back home, then you see because of even 50 people. So these guys are using you. They're just using you. You're just like puppets.
All right.
Nini is kama tu puppets, yani. They can use you and down. At the end of the day, you go back home with the same problems, bad roads, jobless, health, and as in, you will still remain that Wajibu.
All right.
You will still remain that common Mwananchi. There's a song I did called Mwananchi ni nani, who is a citizen. So Mwananchi ni fukara, ni maskini.
Yes, I'm saying. Now we have Weber. Really Weber?
Yes.
Transitioning this song now, moving forward, election. What message do you have for the young people?
My youth watabaki kuwa leaders of today,
right,
if they don't register to be the voters. Watabaki kuwa the leaders of tomorrow if they don't register and vote today. So I say, you vote and vote wisely. Yeah.
So you stop complaining, stop organizing and start organizing. Wakati umechukua kura, democracy starts with voting. Nani amechukua kura? Have confidence. Nani amechukua kura? Please clap for yourself. Tell your neighbor angalia chukua kura, mwambie shetani ashindwe. Wewe ndio unakuamsha. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I give an opportunity for this gentleman to keep on impacting. Keep on. Take it away, please. Take it away.
Keep on clapping.
Ama uende kwa hiyo
wamekuja majiza, wamekuja na pesa, wamekuja na uongo. Amka vijana, wamekuja na giza, wamekuja na pesa, wamekuja na uongo. Amka vijana. Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up, Yambo, amka vijana. Give me Yambo, give me Yakawa, give me Yama, amka vijana. Wamekuja na pesa, wamekuja na pesa, wamekuja na uongo, amka vijana.
The word youth, Mama Boga, 6K, wale watu wa boda boda, Wanjiko, inatumika kama political strategy. So the sitting president wale tulipatia kura ndio wanauliza why Kenyans approve. It's ni offensive kama kwenda ukabani kuuliza when did the rain start hitting us. Tell me, what better we are doing if not playing us back to basics? My DJ, we need to start from the scratch. The truth is, we don't know where the problem is. But the problem is, we don't know what the truth is. So music industry imekuwa violent, kila mtu anataka kuhit. Ndawapiga na conscience music mpaka reality wa hit. Na dreams za kupeleka ngoma akapela kwa the beat. So sad mzazi Madre anapiga mtoi. Na in reality yeye ndiye amebeat. Preach water, drink the same water, but don't forget to watch what you eat. Hata ukiwa njaa, if you don't believe in it, don't subscribe to it. Protect what you stand for. Ukiona tako people kwa watu wamesimama, yule mwenye ameketi ndiye ana stand out. So good, take a seat. Hatutambui defeat. Strength to the soul, from the spirit, power to the people. Ni motion ya wanyonge na cooling down kwa street. So tonight, exercise your freedom to speak. Na ukasirisha, wewe jam to the heartbeat. Tumekuwa empowered and the freedom to speak. Kitu kipa life shapoteza meaning pombe na kufika kutoa lock tulishapoteza kifungu. We will make it in our motherland. Remind us nafikiria lazima nje. Ni kama neno success in interpretation ya Kiswahili kwa Kizungu. Pesa ni shetani, but ni chache. Mali natoka, wengi tunaipata kiumungu mungu.
Wamekuja na pesa, wamekuja na uongo, amka vijana. Wamekuja na giza, wamekuja na pesa, wamekuja na uongo, amka vijana. Give me Yambo, give me Yambo, give me Yambo, amka
vijana wa Mungu.
Ladies and gentlemen, wow, we promised going to be fire today and it's fire, right? Ladies and gentlemen, because of time, I now wish to introduce on stage another strength of a woman. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as I bring on stage Madam Catherine Hamari, the program's manager, ForumCiv. Keep on clapping. Strength of a woman. Strength of a woman. Karibu kiongozi. Karibu kiongozi. The stage is yours. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Mposana? Okay. Thank you, MC001. Thank you so much, everyone. My name is Catherine Hamali, Program Manager for Wajibu in ForumCiv. I must say, I was sitting there and feeling very emotional. And I'm still feeling very emotional about today's event and about the journey that Wajibu has traveled with the young people. When I stood here and I looked at Anika Band, I looked at Apesi, I looked at Oeba. These are stories. These are people, I've been to their homes, most of them. I've been to Mombasa. I've seen your homes in Likoni. I have seen the stories. So we are just not making this stuff up, their experiences. I've been to Obunga, where is Apesi? I've been to Obunga in Apesi's little home and seen the transformation from a young man who was just in the house, minding his own business, has a lot of things to write, but there was no space. I have seen Oeba and many others, So we are not just making this stuff up. These are people. We have, Wajibu has changed lives, and the joy it gives me is to see the change and to see young people taking spaces, young people not just sitting behind the scenes. And they've been following us the whole year. I've been saying, it's our time to sit at the table, Cindy. Like we get there and we sit. Yes, times are hard. Yes, it is challenging. Yes, we are going through uncertain seasons in a political season. But I think when I sit here as a program manager, I feel I'm still very emotional. I was telling my colleague that I don't know what to say because I look at you all and I see lives that have changed. So this week, the Annual Democracy and Human Rights Festival is like the climax. And in the office, we always say we are finishing strong. It's the climax of the Wajibu program, showcasing the journey we have traveled, showcasing the stories we have collected from 2015, from Wajibu Phase 1, moving on to Wajibu Phase 2, showcasing the growth that we have seen as a program, as an organization, as individuals, and more importantly, the impact we have given in your lives, and especially, again, the lives of the young people. As Apesi has told you, they will come. They will come with what? 50 shillings, with promises. But I believe the journey we have traveled from, especially 2018, when we began Phase 2, is we have an empowered youth. We have an empowered young people. We have people who now know how to take decisions, how to stand for yourself, how to speak. So I welcome you to journey with us this week, because I don't want to go through the program, but I want you to sit and just follow, and especially for our audiences who are following online. We are just not showcasing talent, we are showcasing testimonies of lives that have changed, of young people who have occupied space, of young people who are able to engage, of young people who are able to, make decisions. And we talk about revitalizing democracy, and I believe democracy begins at home. Cindy, if you're not, I grew up in a home where I like sharing my personal stories. And I think we had one loaf of bread that was shared among around 11 people. And I still do not know how my mother used to make sure we all got a piece of bread. But I think there was democracy there, Cindy. And we still go through those experiences. So my message to you young people and everyone who is watching this week, please journey with us. Journey with these stories of change. I say, no, we are telling stories. We are showing, the Apesi I met in 2017 and now is completely different. But so we are changing lives, important thing. So please journey with us, enjoy the day. If there's nothing you can remember in the next 5 days, which I hope not, because we have lined up very good programs, important discussions, just remember that change begins with you. So I want to thank you very much. I want to thank our donors who are here with us today. I know there'll be a lot of other speeches going on, but I just want to thank you for the Embassy of Sweden for believing in us doing something completely different, occupying a space that probably nobody else occupied. So amidst the challenges, there's hope. And we are going through a difficult time right now, quite uncertain, elections, poverty, everything. Follow us online. For those who are following, please hashtag Democracy and Human Rights Festival. Welcome and God bless you.
Round of applause. Strength of a woman. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I leave?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
I will still get you, no problem. Clap for her, please. All right. Talk about now, because this is a festival, as she said, hashtag Democracy and Rights Festival. We are live on Facebook, ForumCiv official Facebook page, and we are also live on Twitter and YouTube. Please keep on hashtagging, keep on commenting. Those following us live, karibu sana, kuwa nasi tuendelee pamoja. Ladies and gentlemen, and now I want to bring on stage another strength of a woman. Yeah, in poetry. She has been very sustainable, pushing for social accountability, change the narrative. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. She comes on stage. Put your hands together. Put your hands together for Spontaneous. Gonna be fun today. Spontaneous. Ladies and gentlemen, hashtag Democracy and Human Rights Festival. Hashtag Democracy and Human Rights Festival. Hashtag Democracy and Human Rights Festival. Yeah. Thank you. Spontaneous. Take it away.
Hi everybody, how you doing? Are you psyched about today? Okay, let's do this. Because I live in a country. I live in a country where tears of fears of tomorrow are unwiped. I live in a country where tales of yesterday are uncovered. I live in a country where 5 years ongoing, and still the baby Pando's case is still unclosed. I live in a country where loved ones stained the floors with blood, yet the man in blue uniform walks scot-free. I live in a country where Yasmin, a 13-year-old, barely months later, the case file is left unturned. It says with cash bails. That's the kind of country I live in. I live in a country where mockery takes center stage. When the canister explodes on someone's face and the police laugh about it. Idris Mukolwe died such a painful death. Nali because I live in a country where the electioneering year is set. And I'm still scared because, you know, during our election years, I mean, if you're not the supporter, or if you are the supporter of the opposition, you're never too sure of what's next. Maybe you're going to be the next soul that's going to be maimed next. You live on a borrowed time. You're never too sure of what's next. I live in a country where a journalist spits more facts than the NPS commissioner or IPOA representative combined. I'm talking about John Allen Nano. I live in a country where Boniface Mwangi's tears roll down over the thought of James Mureithe's families in pain. I live in a country where if I say these things, I might find myself behind bars. But it is what it is, guys, ain't it? It is what it is, and this might make the police trigger happy. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. I live in a country where 9,200 cases at the IPOA are still pending, guys. And they've only solved, what, 10 in what, a decade? Really? This is the kind of country I live in. I live in a country where having dreadlocks is questioned. I said I live in a country where having dreadlocks is questioned and tamed. Blood bleeds in your silence and it is cut off from you. When a young blood bleeds, man blue walks scot-free. When a young blood bleeds till the trenches are filled and the family is torn and filled with the stench of wrath, there goes an explosion. There goes a stampede ready to come through. There goes so much anger and hate and pain. When a young blood bleeds, when you sit down on those seats, let your souls be perturbed that you want to take control and charge. Let your hearts be so disturbed that you call out for justice. Take control. Because gone is a son or a mother who's asking herself why she's alive and the son is dead. Gone is a son. See, gone is a son to a brother. To cause a stampede, I say gone is a son to a friend who's ready to take up justice. I say gone is us who are ready to pull that trigger, but we won't. I say gone is a son. God is a son who's a stranger to someone else who's ready to roll up the system the way we are today. God is a son to a nation, a citizen to a nation who's ready to stand up against despotism. I say God is a youth like you and I, ready to do what's right. If you feel me, please just say, Nalilia, Mama. Nalilia, Nalilia. Nalilia, Nalilia. Nalilia, Nalilia. Nalilia, Nalilia, Dada. Nalilia, Nalilia, Kaka. Nalilia, Nalilia, Mama. Nalilia, Papa. Nalilia, Nalilia. When I am blood, please, spontaneous. Nalilia, nalilia, baba. Nalilia, nalilia, kaka. Nalilia, nalilia, dad. Because we need to cry, guys. People can't just, you can't just lose your life over a canister and your voice explodes and you start laughing. You can just lose a teenager on a balcony, Yasin. And cash bails are the things that work for that case. You can't. Just cry.
As we are crying, spontaneous, is there hope?
There's hope, guys. We are the hope. We are talking about it, right? Someone once said that if we are silent, then there's no hope. But if we are talking about it, that means there's hope, yeah? Yeah.
It is whose responsibility?
At this point, it is ours. It is ours. Even in our hopelessness, it is our responsibility to stand up, you know? Like, man, you guys, the system has been flawed since time immemorial. It's time we do something about it. Yeah.
One thing that we need to do as young people, we form almost 75% of the population.
75%, guys.
All right.
What
does that mean to you?
One thing. 75% of us are strong enough.
All right.
75% of us are enough to speak out. 75% of us are enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, those are words echoed by MC Songoro, of course.
And spontaneous.
But originated by spontaneous. Round of applause to begin my coffee tafadhali. Hallelujah. All right, gentlemen, allow me now to welcome on stage Strength of a Man. I can see men smiling now. Strength of a Man, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together as I welcome Mr. Jackson Obare. Yeah? The man himself, the regional manager, ForumCiv. We gave him a coffee after that meeting with ForumCiv. Thank you for supporting young people. Gender equality is very important. We have heard from Strength of a Woman herself, Madam Hamali, and now General Manager, Mr. Jackson Obare. You see, your gender equality is well practiced, development becomes key. That's why we have an amazing program today, courtesy of collaboration between male and female. There's going to pick up off tafadhali. Jackson Obare, sir, please take it away.
Vijana habari. Vijana habari. Sijasikia sauti yenu upande peke yake. Vijana habari. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming and participating in the opening session of this week's Democracy and Human Rights Festival. And we are honored and privileged to have our team from Stockholm and as well as the Embassy of Sweden-Nairobi sitting with us. Thank you, Catherine, for giving those overview remarks. And of course, it's emotional when you hear the lady who's just left on stage, when she sings, it's quite emotional and touching because of the feelings of lost lives of young and innocent people who the future depends on. But allow me also to bring hope so that it's not a sense of despair in this regard. Since the start of Wajibu Phase 1, 2015, we've been conducting these forums, giving spaces, giving platforms for the young people, and also engaging duty bearers in accountability dialogue. And I want to give you some statistics that are very impressive on how we have been doing since 2016. These conversations have made possible for in-person participation of 2,600 since 2016. Even now with COVID, were it not for COVID, I'm sure the last 2 years we could be registering higher numbers in this auditorium. So you need to applaud for yourself and the people who have participated. For 2,600, this is physical in-person participation. And the conversation has been taken in the digital space, courtesy of Democracy and Rights Festival. That is the hashtag that we used. And so far from the online conversations in the social media, we've been able to go beyond these physical spaces that we have here. And in 2016, the total impressions, those clicks that we received from those that are following our discussions online and contributing was 56 million in social media and a direct reach of 851,000. So those are the numbers that we are able to authenticate from our system of monitoring and tracking. So those are not small numbers we are talking about. In 2017, we did not participate because, it's during the year of election, so we did not have Democracy and the Human Rights Festival. In 2018, we had 107 million impressions and a direct reach of 943,000. In 2019, we had 113 million impressions and direct reach of 1.3 million. In 2020, last year, we had 92 million impressions and direct reach of 898,000. So that tells you we've been able to reach so many people trending with this hashtag. And we have a number of countries which we are able to demonstrate. For example, we have participation from Kenya, we have India, United States, Sweden, Uganda, Australia, Canada, Germany, Tanzania, Rwanda, UK, Colombia, Argentina, South Africa, Thailand, and Afghanistan. You can imagine all people following this trending topic throughout the world and reaching this number. So the discussion is not only centered on the few who are sitting here because of COVID-19 regulations. The online audience is actually bigger than the conversations we are having here. And that is the reason why with COVID having a hybrid model enables us to reach and have concrete discussions that enriches our accountability to democracy and the human rights. So ladies and gentlemen, we know COVID-19 came in 2019, and this is the second year now. We are feeling there is impact in social spheres, in economic spheres, and also in political spheres. So the human rights aspects also have been affected immensely. If you remember, we've been having difficulties when COVID-19 came last year, that even there were more deaths attributed to restrictions of movement because of COVID than COVID itself. People were killed and brutalized by the security forces by not adhering to COVID-19 regulations. And at the onset, so more people were reported dead because of the brutalities, and the COVID had not claimed any person. So I think that also underscores the very nature of the shrinking space and the voices that we need to amplify for the issues that are affecting us. So COVID-19, of course, has negated a lot of gains achieved in the last 2-3 decades, and thus we need to work in solidarity to regain the lost achievements or milestones. So progressive democracies must be inclusive. And I was listening to a song by the Swedish group Upper Bobsters talking about the winner takes it all. I'm not sure how many have listened to the winner takes it all. I see men. And that song, you know, our constitution 2010 has another system where the winner takes it all, isn't it? So when you have the winner with the 50+1, everything in that administration is taken. So this song has a different content, but has a lot of borrowing if you listen to that particular song. The winner takes it all, the loser stands still, small. The loser has to fall. It is simple and plain. Why should I complain if you have lost? But you know, that this is a manifestation of even what happened. It's not like the Kenyans, people who lost, did not complain. For sure they did in defending democracy if there were malpractices. But they stood and they took the cases to court, and that's how you want to safeguard the democracy. But also realizing that that system also has its weaknesses. Rules must be obeyed, and at the end of the day, they said we respect the verdict of the Supreme Court. After that, no one went to the streets. The churches will decide, the likes of me abides. In democracy, a progressive democracy, we should be able to respect decisions, particularly when the decisions of the voters have been, clearly manifested that this was the will. But whenever we have challenges of authenticating those numbers, that is when we go to the streets. But the message this morning from all the presentations before me underscores that we need to keep peace and ensure that we have safety of us as young people and those who don't have the privilege or even the energy to defend themselves, so that we are able to see tomorrow. We also must work together with all people in walks of life. Inclusivity is the key here to ensure that no one is left behind. When I look at the whole auditorium, the majority is the youth, the young people. And also I had a voice of a child actually from behind there. So that tells you, if the mother is able to come in these spaces with the young child, it's a safe space, and we are also becoming inclusive. And that's the essence of creating these platforms to amplify our voices, even when we have, challenges amplifying those voices. So bringing people together and in an inclusive manner enables us to achieve our sustainable development goals. Sustainable goal number 17 talks about partnerships. Sustainable partnerships. We must ensure that we are working across board, vertical and horizontal partners, for us to achieve the cause that we are pursuing. A few of the trends I've been able to observe in 2020, 2021, and they are likely to progress even in 2022. We are experiencing declining democracy and rising autocracy and the coups in Africa. And I think the most recent is what you know in Sudan. Though they are reverting back to, the rule of law, but there are also challenges. We are also seeing what's happening in Ethiopia, the internal strife and the civil war that is reemerging. These ones are indications that even during COVID, in fact, during COVID, a number of these has increased. We have seen how coups have happened. There are quite many in West Africa. And that tells you that democracy is on trial. Nobody's respecting government that have been elected democratically in offices, and therefore it is time that we need to rise up and also speak and support our neighbors as we also defend ourselves as a country. Another trend, we are seeing the reemergency or change from the pandemic to an endemic situation, and this is also experienced, or we have rather seen this through distribution of vaccines. Unless vaccinations can be stepped up, COVID-19 would have become just another of the many endemic diseases that afflict the poor, but not the rich. And as you all know, the World Health Organization has been urging the rich nations to be able to ensure that there is vaccine equity. We can only go back to our normalcy if a huge population of our people are vaccinated and there is willingness, but there are no vaccines. This one is a right because it's a health component. But I'm very happy to note that the government is stepping up and is now putting as a mandatory that you must be vaccinated to receive government services. It is not that you are being forced, it is also to protect ourselves and the lives of those we love most. Inflation worries when young people are not having gainful employment because the economy is not expanding as it should, or the government doing their mandate, they are easily absorbed into extremist tendencies, and they can also be involved in the thuggery, criminal gangs activities, and the clear message is you can find productive engagements like Apesia's talent is the music. You can find it there and make it big and not be involved in criminal gang activities. And as we head into 2022 elections, we are likely to see more of these young people being used. But I think people like Apesi and others who are able to sing and put the message across will be able to make the young people have reason why they shouldn't be used as instruments of causing chaos and maim others for the sake of electing leaders who have bought you and tomorrow they are not going to be with you. It is now they will be able to call you a base and you receive. But after 2022 August elections, try to call them and whether you will be able to find them. You will not, those numbers will not go through and you will not be received. So vote wisely because you are democratic right and ensure that we always promote the messages of peace. This increasing cases in 2020 of gender-based violence because with the excuse now more people are staying home and did not have gainful employment. It also created, a situation where men have been killing, their spouses, raping their young children home because of COVID-19. This continues to underscore the trends we have been observing for the last 2 years. In fact, for the last 2 years, we have had more increased cases of gender-based violence, domestic violence than we have had before because of the single most pandemic, COVID-19. What happens if COVID-19 is not contained and then we have more of this? So as we work together in integrating this work of pushing for social change and accountability, we also seek to ask the international community, of course, for solidarity because they have done this before and we are asking for more to be done to reverse the negative gains that have been brought because of COVID-19 in all the spheres of the economy, polity, and the social aspects of our lives. Wajibu program and the ForumCiv in general, we have been integrating innovations, creativity, and technology in pushing for social change. More often than not, when people hear about technological innovations, it could be improving food security, technological innovations in the transport sector, in all the other productive sectors. But we rarely imagine that we also need innovation and creativity in the social sectors, because even advocacy work requires innovation and creativity in this time and era. And so we want to request all of us to embrace these new technologies of advancing for social change, and we support it through doing development differently by including the marginalized groups and giving them the voices and the power to effect change. Indeed, we have made massive contributions in this space as ForumCiv, and we are now needed more than ever because of the ravaging effects of COVID-19. I also want to give assurance to the Swedish Embassy here that the work we have been supporting, it's not in vain. All these young people are coming from the grassroots. You hear Kisumu, you hear Mombasa, you are also hearing from the informal settlements of Nairobi. These are just pockets of the few people that we are supporting that are coming here. And as we gather here for this national event, And of course, you have been participating for the grassroots forums, voices in spaces that has been taking place in different regions where real issues are discussed and also involving the duty bearers. I must say that this work and this platform has created spaces for airing or venting out issues that you ordinarily can't speak directly to the duty bearers. But through these forums, those voices are given the agency to air out what concerns them. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to conclude by thanking you and welcoming you, of course, to this week's event. Already Catherine has given, to feel the energy. When you seated there, I was feeling a lot of energy in this room because of the young people, and we want to feel that same energy by having constructive discussions throughout this week. Asanteni sana na karibuni kwa hii mjadala ambao tutakuwa nayo baadaye. Asante.
Before you leave, Senior, just before you leave, I request just grab your microphone. Please appreciate Mr. Jackson Obare for the charismatic leadership. Yes, now you know, I was just wondering. This is probably the last Democracy and Rights Festival under Wajibu Phase 2. So I'd like to ask you, what is your biggest takeaway?
As I said in my remarks, that we have made significant gains, first in giving the spaces for the young people to participate. And I think notable of this is when you see the Embassy of today, we have them first, we have so many artists. It is not the platform, it's not a performance. There is a message behind this. And these young people, before, they could not be even given the audience to be able to speak and share what kind of social messages that they do have. What I have to say that these platforms and the program as a whole has also given the confidence to young people to also go to the grassroots and organize these kind of events. And I'm happy to see Anika from Ban from Mombasa, because then they have been able to demonstrate that even their diversities of challenges, they have come together for a common cause. And when I hear that they are going into other places in the county, it's an initiative started by ForumCiv. And so those are some of the sustainable initiatives that we are putting in place and enabling you to go to the next level. And since it is the last before this phase comes to an end, we are not saying like the Wajibu program has come to an end, it's dead. And I think we are having conversation with the Swedish Embassy. We see what gains have we achieved, and we can deepen that work, and where are the gaps that we have been able to identify. And we have seen through the work that we have with partners, and they have also given us feedback. And even from these forums, when you listen to the conversations up to the end of the week, it is a process where you pick all the ideas and where we need to work more. But most importantly, as an organization and the program Wetu, we have given the power to the young people and the grassroots organizations, citizens in general, to effect change. And I think that change, because of that, is the power you need. I'm happy that even if the program festival comes to an end, we're looking for bigger things in the coming years. And you will be the strongest supporters or partners in that cause. Thank you.
All right, just last before you step down, this festival has been very unique, of course, especially facilitating, conversations, difficult conversations around human rights, abduction, around extremism. And the most important thing is how it has employed, creativity and innovation into the agenda. So looking at maybe from your perspective, how do we scale this up?
Of course, one of the things when I mentioned strategic partnerships is to ensure that you also anchor this work with different partners who can support the cause. That is one way, and in a sense we are doing that, and we have done it to some of the partners. when we hear there are other donors who want to support this work to go to the next level, how do we link this organization as a platform organization? How do we link you up to continue propelling these messages? That is one key thing. Then the other key thing is also we have facilitated you to participate in strategic, not local platforms, in others, and share our experiences and how our model of engagement in creating these spaces has worked of using art for social change, innovation, and creativity. And I think that's a game changer in itself.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, the David. I appreciate it. It's a chance from Mubarak for the closing up. Thank you. Asante sana. So, ladies and gentlemen, Democracy and Rights Festival, hashtag Democracy and Rights Festival. Ladies and gentlemen, just about now. And now we want to also, again, welcome another strength of a man, all the way from Sweden, just for this amazing event, ladies and gentlemen. Join me in welcoming on stage the board chairperson for ForumCiv, Mr. Magnus. Round of applause, gentlemen, to give him a all the way from Sweden. That's for this amazing event. Karibu sana, karibu Kenya. Karibu.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. I'm very, very glad to be part of this 2021 edition of the Democracy and Human Rights Festival, to experiencing the energy and to listen to the testimonies and to feel the vibrations in not only in this place, but also digitally throughout. This is an excellent dialogue platform, and it has been running for quite some time. Should I be using that with this? As you might know, ForumCiv is a membership-based organization. We have some 180 organizations as members in Sweden, which makes us the largest platform, civil society platform in Sweden. We are part of the global civil society. We are convinced that the growth of new social movements, in the broader sense, has an essential role to play in the global changes towards a just and sustainable world. The Democracy and Human Rights Festival has strengthened and extended our platform role as ForumCiv, enabling networking and collaboration of voices and efforts towards deepening democracy, human rights, and gender equality in Kenya. As has been witnessed in previous years, and also in this year's festival, this festival has given and continues to give a voice to a diversity of actors: human rights defenders, civil society, art, media, cultural actors, from both the grassroots to the national level, and even to the regional and the global level. The festival has also facilitated an exchange of local experiences, know-how, demonstrations, and recognition of efforts that are already making a difference in democracy, human rights, and gender equality. The diversity of actors, audiences, and voices reflected in this week's program underscores the critical point that deepening democracy, respect for human rights, and realizing gender equality require more coherent and concerted approaches. I'm particularly impressed by the many powerful young people lined up to speak, and the witnesses and the testimonies we have heard. I'm also excited at the inclusion of minority groups and voices reflecting our overarching strive for inclusion. That is further in line with our conviction as ForumCiv that the plurality of civil society has a value in and of itself. It gives a wide range of groups a voice and a power to affect the political agenda. And as you know, rights can never be given, they can only be claimed. And spaces cannot be given, they can only be taken. As I conclude, I'm further inspired by this year's theme, Revitalizing Democracy and Rights, which underscores the need to restore hope, rebuild back better, and continue agitating for fundamental rights and freedoms. Therefore, I'm happy to be part of this vibrant week engagements. I'm looking forward to learning, unlearning, and being revitalized as we continue agitating for a better, just, and sustainable world. Asante sana.
Round of applause, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Mr. Margaret. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I now take this opportunity to welcome another strength of a woman, of course, coming to speak to us this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as they bring on stage Nshiko Kihika. Makofi tafadhali, pigieni makofi. Pigieni makofi. Nshiko Kihika. Any applause? All right, gentlemen, just remind us your Democracy and Rights Festival. Democracy and Rights Festival. Gentlemen, I now take this opportunity as we wait for Shiko Kihika. I'm told she just stepped out. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as now we bring on stage one of the most sustainable artists here in Kenya. He has been here pushing for accountability, calling out the impunity in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as we bring on stage Mo Fasa. Keep on clapping.
If we're just numbers, no life is the
some just prosper. Shine me a different matter. Hey, what are we if we are just numbers? No life is bigger than another. Others suffer, some just prosper. Shine mirror different eyes.
My president is Kenyan, but he cannot tell my story. Like when I was 6 years old, my mother bought a sofa from her friend. Her friend had bought a new one, and now the old one was taking too much space. When the new old seat occupied our house, we could not sit on our praises. We sang praises to my mother for a warrior who had slaughtered the dragon. I thought this was what the president meant when he said the economy is growing. 3 months later, we learned my mother had not finished paying for the seat. Wasn't even halfway there. We watched men come to our house on a February, lift our seats and march away with our dignity. My mother's friend did not care enough to leave us with our ego to sit on. That year, I missed so much of school, I started to hate math. I hated how everything was adding up. I hated the fact that outside our house, the economy was growing. My president is Kenyan, okay? But he cannot tell my story. Like a few weeks before my mother's close friend passed on, they were seated in a mat, worrying about their blood pressure, worrying that death might be around the corner or at the back of the carpet. My mother's friend asked my mother not to die fast, asked my mother to take care of her children if she died fast. That's the real story of Kenyans out there. Children are to die for, and parents are working to death for their children. Single fathers are afraid to die. Single mothers are afraid to die. They're not afraid of how they will die. They're afraid if they die, they will leave their children with nothing. Children with nothing are begging on our streets every day. Children with nothing grow up to become grown men with nothing. Grown men with nothing but a knife will stab you for nothing. For a phone, for the time is marked in your pocket. Our GDP doesn't mean nothing to children with nothing. Or is it? Children with nothing mean nothing to our GDP.
What are we if we are just numbers? No life is bigger than another. Some just suffer, others prosper. Same mirror, different eyes. What are we if we are just numbers? No life is bigger than another. Some suffer, others prosper. Hey, same mirror, different eyes.
Our president is Kenyan, okay? But he cannot tell my story. I hear he's a good man. He's warm with laughter, invites children to the state house, takes photos with artists. It's a beautiful thing. It's good for his image. Mothers who lose their children to cancer because of delayed chemo at Kenyatta care about image too. They want to clean their babies' bodies and bury them beautiful too. Yesterday, I had a stranger at a barber shop say, if his child dies with a hospital bill, he will not sell his tiny piece of land to bring a dead body home. There might be no land left for, but I don't know, president doesn't know. We know in the city, you don't have ancestral land, you just have compound eyes. Use your eyes. A challenge to look at the people we vote for, how they make it about themselves and not their work. Because if it was about service, I would point it out. They have not been given, they have been taken. Look at how rich they have become now. How will they care about land policy for the poor when they are clearly about owning more land in the provinces? Is that how much land they have now? Enough land to plant themselves in their own country? Don't our parents work so hard to buy a piece of land and sell everything every time a severe illness visits our family? My president is Kenyan, okay, but he cannot tell my story. Because what we need is not 4 pillars or 5 pillars or high-fiving politicians. What we need is for people in the government to stop eating our money. Every year, about 1 trillion shillings is lost through corruption. So tell me, what is a government project if it's not another project to take from? How will we know what 1 trillion shillings could do for homeless Kenyans, for landless Kenyans, for jobless Kenyans, for girls living with families that cannot afford to buy them sanitary pads in 2021? How will we know what 1 trillion shillings could do for quality and relevant education for about 90% of Kenyan children who don't go to private or international schools? How will we know what 1 trillion shillings could do for families that do not have easy access to affordable medical care? How will we know when we don't even know in the first place why Kenya imports sugar and maize and milk when we have farmers and land and our flag says it's green?
What are we if we are just numbers? See, no life is bigger than another. Some just suffer, others prosper. Saving us, if we are just numbers. See, no life should be bigger than another. No, some just suffer, others prosper. Save me, save me, save, 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 save,
Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mufasa. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just about now, welcome on stage. One. Thank you. Chairman, welcoming on stage. Now, a representative from the Embassy of Sweden in Kenya. The gentlemen put your hands together for Miss Anika. The second name, I don't want to make a mistake. All right. I'm just careful, you know. Karibu sana. Please appreciate her, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, everybody. You think I should? No, do me like that. Oh, it's good to hear me. Good. I feel great being here, and especially coming after that energetic, beautiful song that really broke my heart and the words. But here we are, the Swedish Embassy, together with you in Kenya. And I wanted to start with saying thank you for inviting me and my colleague Elena, who is actually the one responsible for this specific cooperation. You might not know it, but Sweden, as you heard, the representative from ForumCiv saying to you, Magnus, Sweden is really focusing a lot on protecting human rights, democracy, and gender equity in the world. But we have a lot of work to do in our country as well. So I think this is a good opportunity to realize for all of us that we need to work together. We need to fight people and regimes and organizations that do not protect democracy, human rights, and do not fight corruption. Because we do not want to see corruption. We want to see people participating, people being able to raise their voices, to have an impact on their own lives, their community lives, and the country's future. I think we have some common problems, challenges, you could say, today between Sweden and Kenya, but also between the many countries in the world. And those are human rights, democracy, but it's also climate change and the loss of biodiversity, which is another very important factor if we want to create a sustainable future for our young people and the children. They will be the ones that will live on this earth in the future. And then, of course, we have COVID, which has had an impact on all of us, and not the least, the very marginalized and people living in poverty without means to survive or to develop their economic situation in a country or in a community where you have COVID, you have the restrictions on the economy, you also have a lot of political pressure due to COVID. So I think those three themes are actually, they are present everywhere, I would say, today. But of course, they have the largest impact on people who have already confronted difficulties in their lives. I also wanted to say that I think there is a lot of hope, because I spent a couple of days last week, actually I spent many days in my life with visiting villages and meeting people, working at community level. And I've seen that so many women and men and young people, children, have managed to change their lives because of civil society organizations, movements, artists that work together with people living in those areas, linking them to opportunities, supporting them in developing their capacities. Could even be, learning how to write, read, doing maths, so that you can engage in society and understand what are your rights, what is it you should be provided in terms of social services from your county government or the national government. So I think it's that's where I say that civil society organizations, all sorts, at national, county level, or very local level, they play a so important role because they can help people create linkages and understanding and support people who have the capacity and the will to change their lives, but they don't perhaps have all the information. They don't have the contacts. But if we work together, and that is, I think, how Sweden wants to work with Kenya, the people of Kenya, and all actors of Kenya, that is to spread information, to capacitate, to strengthen also financial-wise, community-based organizations so that they can engage people and change from beneath. But I also think that we need to cooperate with the public sector and also with the private sector, because we need more financial resources to change. And we also need to cooperate because all of us need to understand each other's different points of view. So if I look back on Sweden, I think that we've had some really strong organizations, for example, representing the workers, labor, trade unions. We have environmental organizations, and of course we have women's organizations. They have all worked for perhaps 200 years to change our society into a more democratic, more sustainable, and also more equitable society. But we still have, we have quite far to go, because all the time you have to work hard to preserve what we want to see as human rights and democracy. There are so many actors in the world today that fight those values and are not working in favor of democracy or gender. So we have to fight together, we have to keep trying, and I think Kenya and Sweden has a lot to win to keep working together, because we all want to see a future which is better for young people. We want to see more democracy, and we want to see a society and a world which will survive the climate changes that are to come. So thank you very much for inviting me here as a representative of the Swedish government. And I also want to say that Sweden is a good example of, I think, people changing positions. Most of us working in government or civil society, or perhaps even the private sector, we have also worked in other sectors. I worked 8 years in civil society in Sweden with other countries, and I think that has given me a platform to better understand the importance of civil society in Sweden and all over the world. So thank you and good luck, and I really hope you will have a prosperous future. Thank you.
All right. Keep on clapping, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. That was a voice from the Swedish Embassy in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, now the time has come for us to listen to the voices of young people. In most cases, for a very long time, young people are there to be spoken to. They're always listening. But now we're taking over the spaces. And the following session now, we'll be listening to the voice of young people who have been there striving to push social accountability, peace, security in this country. And we are going to give each and every young person at least 3 minutes. And then we'll give an opportunity to all of us to engage those who have questions or comments to the agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, now starting with our first speaker this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome on stage Ms. Shiko Kihika of Tribeless Youth. Begin with a coffee, Manali. Voices of young people. Shiko Kihika. Microphone, please. Oh, she's well set. Take it away.
A young woman, a young lady, a daughter, a sister, a wife, an in-law, or however you want to call her, witnessed cases of injustices but did not know what this really meant to her. She saw baby Pendo being killed at 6 months, life being taken away. Baby Pendo right now will be jumping up and down, playing around with friends, and probably will be a baby of CBC, PP2, grade 1, who knows? But the wrath of these governments took her life away. Then they came for Yasin Moyo. And we still never spoke because, you know what? It's not my brother. It's not my uncle. It's not my father either. We still never spoke. Then recently, they came for the Kenjakumba brothers. The two brothers who had wronged no one. The two brothers who just decided to help their mom make a living. They still took them away. But you know what? We say this is Kenya. We won't speak until it's us. We won't speak until it knocks on our doors. But we all forget that me and you, we are a bullet away from just being a hashtag. And you know what? Your friend won't speak either. We've grown, we've fought, we've divided ourselves. And the funny thing, which is also sad, is that we fight over the thieves who've stolen, looted our hope, our faith in the country that we never chose to be born in the country that we've dedicated to pay taxes to again and again. And the most interesting bit is that we'll come and discuss democracy as if we live it, but we know in Kenya democracy is in papers. We know that if I voice my opinion as a woman, if they don't kill me, they'll hire someone to troll me. That if you are too vocal, they'll call you a prostitute. I'm not sure what is wrong with it, if someone is making a decent living out of it. But either way, 2022 is coming. And we've been given the options, is either the bigger thief or the biggest thief. And as young people who are jobless, hopeless, who do not know how our tomorrow looks like, who are hoping someone can come and give you 500 shillings so that you can feed your families. And some of us are even hoping that we can get someone to just give us food. We'll be the people fighting over these thieves. It's unfortunate. It's sad. The biggest question we need to ask ourselves is, after all this is said and done, are we granting ourselves 4 more years of complaining? Are we going to change the narrative? They told us to go and register as voters, but they never told us if our vote really counts. They recently told us that if you're not vaccinated, you're not able to access government services. But what services are they talking about? If our own people are dying in our houses because we cannot afford simple medical services that are supposed to be a right? But what rights are we talking about? If even shelter we cannot access because they came for your houses recently, but they also lied that the president said tuwajenge nyumba kwa sababu the other part near Barbara, right? We are gonna demolish your houses and also give you a small piece to also rebuild your houses because elections are coming up. No one will talk about it because we don't touch on the Kenyattas, Odingas, Railas, and the Rutos, who will come in choppers and also tell us they're hustlers, who are using your taxes to live in high-end current states, but also tell you we relate to you because you can ride on a boda boda, right? For 10 years, none of them knew boda bodas existed. For 10 years, yes, wheelbarrows, as you said it. For 10 years, none of them recognized that boda bodas had rights. Didn't we see them getting rid of them in the city? Yet now they're here, they're riding on them and paying them to go campaign for them. Right? Are we saying anything about it? They came and told us kazi kwa vijana ni kuchimba mitaro, kuosha choo na kulima. But they also told us that education is the key to success. I'm not sure what success is. We must rise, we must speak, because this Kenya depends on us. They talk about 70%, right? That the youth are the majority. But the majority has also been classified as the minority in our constitution. It doesn't make sense. It beats logic when you think about it. My name is Shiva Kilika from Tribeless Youth.
All right, thank you. Kindly don't switch off my microphone. Beginning my conference, ladies and gentlemen. That was Shiva Kilika from Tribeless Youth, ladies and gentlemen. And now, I bring on stage an activist, none other than Willie Oeba. Keep clapping, give him a applause. Voices of young people in democracy and human rights. Coming on stage is one and only Willie Oeba.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Are you happy to be here? You're here to be happy. Both. So my name is Willie Oeba. For those who know me, and for those who don't know me, my name is still Willie Oeba. I come from Nakuru, so I am a proud Nats vegan for life. I do spoken word poetry, but basically all I do is express myself, then people call that poetry. So I am an expressionist. And before I started doing poetry on social justice, I was doing all the fancy pieces about fantasy. And it's not bad, it's good, right? But something happened. But before it did, this is the first piece I ever performed. And it went like this. Well, the difference between today and yesterday is total darkness. When I met this rather hot chick and I was like, can I have your number? She looked at me rather despisingly and she was like, have you lost yours? Yeah, so that was Willie Oeba before 21st of January 2017. I was almost shot by a police guy in Nakuru because I had dreadlocks, short dreadlocks, stereotype. I looked like someone they were looking for. They are called the confirmed gang. Anyone who knows about that from Nakuru? So I was nearly shot. And from that time, you see, they say when a gun is put on your head, at that moment, your life flashes right in front of your eyes, right? And if they don't kill you then you live as a man who has nothing to lose. So I started doing poetry because I realized people were being killed. The youths were being killed on a daily, but we didn't have voices to speak. So at that time, there was a short video that went viral after that drama. I sent it to Boniface Mwangi on WhatsApp, but he took time to respond. I was thinking, what about youths? Forget about, now I have Boni's number. Forget about people who don't have his number and they want someone to talk, someone to speak about these vices. Where do they go? And I wrote a piece. It's called Dear Mr. President. And this incident not only shaped the way I write, but how I write and how I say what I write. So there's a line I've said, Dear Mr. President, do you know the leaders of tomorrow are dying today? Nigats tu hakuna, but everyone has something to say. And we as the youths inspire change, because we have numbers, right? But the problem we have as the youth is voter apathy. You guys don't want to vote, but we want change. We said we will continue being the leaders of tomorrow if we don't register to be the voters of today. So let alone the ad hoc solutions that we have, instantaneous solutions that we want for our problems, because change is a process. It's not a destination, and we will get there. We are not where we want to be, but certainly we have to respect the fact that we are not where we used to be, because the idea is to spark the mind that will change the world, because true leadership is in delegation. Ladies and gentlemen, right about now, I will introduce my very good friend, and that is how we will sign out. Appreciate.
Nikafanikiwa kapata manikiwa ndoto ishaonekaniana mama kafanikiwa kapata ndoto pia ndoto yake kaizimana. Ana nguvu ya kusema no, mwanamke angali mchanga. Ana nguvu ya kusema no, mwanamke hafai kubakwa. Ana nguvu ya kusema no, mwanamke hafai kupigwa. Ana nguvu ya kusema no, mwanamke hafai kubakwa. Oleo, oleo, mwanamke sio dasta, anajua chini. Oleo, oleo, mwanamke ni madini, mtuze kada abu tena. Oleo, oleo, mwanamke sio dasta, anajua chini. Oleo, oleo, mwanamke ni madini, mtuze kada abu tena. Ana nguvu ya kusema ni mwanamke hafai kubakwa. Ana nguvu ya kusema no, mwanamke hafai kupigwa. Ana nguvu ya kusema no, mwanamke angali mchanga. Oleo, oleo, sio dasta kukanyagiwa chini. Oleo, oleo, mwanamke ni madini, tuzikada abu tena.
Well, to all the girls who have ever broken my heart, just know my mama doesn't like you. Because I write for girls who don't know why I write. I write for girls who don't appreciate how I write. For girls who are never wrong, I write. For dark parts and heavy hearts, I light. For the uncertain and the powerful, I might. So never ask a girl why she is in love with you. Yes, most often does it make you so happy when you look into the mirror, because these girls can be very petty. You see, maybe she's in love with the way you look when you sleep. And if you dare tell you because of your personality, then maybe you don't look as good. It is better she tells you she doesn't know why than she has no reason.
Because when these girls decide to give you any reason, she be like, the problem is me, not you. Any woman would want to be with you. Well, these girls cry. These girls cry when they are happy. These girls cry when they are mad. These girls cry when they are scared. All I'm trying to say sometimes, these girls cry when they are not supposed to. These girls will fall in love with you for the comedian that you are, but once you get into a relationship, you cease being funny. Some of these girls knock on open doors. The way most of these girls have saved me on their phones, only God knows. Well, these boys act funny, but these girls cannot tell because they have shaved this. Now you know why they can't raise their eyeballs. But these girls have been hit more than your favorite song has been on replay. Well, I will say it for the last time. No girl should miss school because of her menses. Period. Because these girls become mothers. Mothers who give us education awards, some of them can't even spell. I'm here to tell these girls that it is well. And when they die, all they deserve is the heavens, because on earth they have been through so much hell. Because my mama never raised voices, she raised a son. So a toast to the man that I am. You see, I use my mama's second name now because she is masculine, with belly muscles that stretch from the first, second, third to the 9th month, but even stronger hip muscles that utter words that move my soul. You call this the strength of a woman, these are just words that have motherly touch from my mama in low tones, whispers, and mama. You see, she has figure, trust me, forget about that because she's my fatherly figure now. Ain't what much, she's first in this chat list. Not on the anatomy of the waist downwards, but from the neck upwards now, she is the head of the family. Well, these words are sick because she has blood pressure. That won't kill her. Her smile is sweeter than diabetes. The mortality of a smile defies the past products to dust cause. She's never upset, not like the soil when you add water. She never turns mad. She's the little kind of short people you'll have a string to look up to. Her head is like a funny 6-story building because she is smart upstairs. Well, I work in drugs and cut her clothes to feed us. That is why she's always smart up here. So I didn't try to tell her how much she is my role model, because she doesn't walk straight, but trust me, the footprints in which I follow from her are straight. She doesn't walk in transparent clothes so that God can see her through now. She prospers. Not good in football, but in everything she always chipped in. I bet she had so many other goals in life. Thank you.
Women for the women, stand up for the African woman. Stand up, Simama, Chumalo Vukabuda. Women for the women, stand up for the African woman. Hallelujah, kusema wanamke afai kupigwa. Hallelujah, kusema wanamke afai kubana. Oleo, oleo, wanamke sio hata kukanyagiwa chini. Oleo, oleo, wanamke ni madini, tuze kababu tena.
All right, Mr. Gentlemen, that was Willie Oeba, of course, together with a person. Mr. Gentlemen, the next speaker. So interesting. He's a social economic rights activist. From root to food, and the gentlemen just together, for Emmanuel Atamba.
My name is Emmanuel Atamba, and I'm a food rights campaigner who champions food rights. Let me give you a very quick background, and then let's talk about food rights after that. So I have a strong passion for farming, and it started as a resistance to my father. My father was a teacher and a professor of linguistics. He loved stories. So one time I made people laugh and he was out making a call. So he came back to the room and asked me, can you repeat the joke? And I said, I don't repeat jokes, I'm not a teacher. And I was a very small boy. So he said, you can only be a farmer. Because for you to be a teacher, you have to be patient and you have to repeat. If people didn't understand what you say, you have to repeat. Then say, it's okay, I can be a farmer. And I started just working on the farm, and I love farming. I went to high school, and I used to farm a lot in high school. I had pigs, I was supporting the pigs farm. I was also owning some rabbits in high school. And I used to just, in my free time, I would go to the farm and work. I loved farming, I loved agriculture. I took agriculture, I passed. I went to university and I studied agriculture, BSc agriculture from the university. You know what I mean by when I say the university? The people from the university understand. So I studied agriculture. I had a lot of passion and a lot of hope that agriculture is a viable sector. In the course of my studies, I started interacting with farmers. And what changed my journey, what changed my understanding of agriculture to be this big opportunity to a problem was when I realized that farmers are the hungriest people. So I wrote an article when I was still in third year. It was titled Hungry Farmers. It was published by 3 newspapers. It was on The Nation, it was on The Standard, it was also on People's Daily. And I asked, how come the people who produce the food we eat are the hungriest? And that was my journey in food rights. So I started understanding food systems, how food works, who produces the food that we are eating, who produces the tomatoes that we are using, who produces the vegetables that we eat every day, who produces the maize. The other day, if anyone has seen, the National Cereals and Produce Board has put out a price that I cannot even mention for a bag of maize. Who produces that maize? Who produces the unga that we eat? So I started questioning that. And I joined Root to Food as an ambassador because Root to Food has an alliance. So I joined Root to Food Alliance and I said, you know what, I have this technical background, I have farmed, I know farming and all this, but I also want to learn about food rights. I want to learn how food is a right. Then that started my journey as a food rights campaigner. Up to now, there are a lot of topics that I've picked on, but because of time, I'll just talk about 2 of them. One of it is the pesticides campaign. If anyone has heard about the pesticides campaign, we are talking about toxic chemicals that have been banned or withdrawn from the market in the EU, where 30% of our pesticides as Kenyans is coming from, but are being used here. And I asked the question, as well as my colleagues, we put together a team, we brought together people to petition that and ask, are we second-class human beings? Why is it that it is not good in Europe, but it is good here? Why is it that our country allows some of the most toxic chemicals, which have alternatives that are equally chemical or non-chemical, but they have alternatives that are safer? Why is it that these pesticides are allowed here? So we petitioned that. I was one of the petitioners. We petitioned that, and the Parliamentary Health Committee gave a report in our favor. And the Pest Control Products Board, as we speak, is reviewing more than 200 pesticide products that we questioned. We have more than 700 pesticide products that are being used in the market. So that is about a third of the pesticides in the market that we questioned. We keep talking about food safety. So I have been raising concerns at county level, at national level about the question of food safety. But they keep telling me that as long as people are hungry, food safety is not a concern. It is true that until you have your stomach full is when you can start worrying about what you have eaten. But that should not be the case. Our constitution, Article 43(1)(c), gives every Kenyan, and even every person living in Kenya, whether you are Kenyan or not, the right to have adequate, safe, and nutritious food. How many of us can say that they have had nutritious meals today? How many of us have had balanced diet the whole weekend? How many? How many Kenyans are suffering from food insecurity? When we talk about food insecurity, the problem is that the people in urban areas think we are talking about Turkana, we are talking about, Kitui and other areas that experience harsh climatic conditions. No, we are talking about you. We are talking about you who doesn't know what is in the tomatoes you ate yesterday. We are talking about you who doesn't know if the food you're going to have in the next meal is safe for you. Your right is not guaranteed in that way. And therefore, I think one of the things that we keep talking about is getting people to be aware, getting consumers to be aware, getting consumers to understand that right to food is their right, and they have to come out to defend their right, just as any other right, just as the right to life. In fact, the right to food is only second to the right to life. If you can't have food, you can't have life. Kenyans are struggling. Some of the Kenyans, as we speak, more than 1 million Kenyans are suffering from severe, when I'm talking about severe, it is the worst form of food insecurity you can expect. But yet, we are here talking about, all these processes, trying waters with BBI and spending 30 billion shillings on a process that is illegal. We are talking about referendum that, does not add anything, really, to the life of the common person. But all as young people, we are like, okay, so we are energized. All today we are on this direction, tomorrow we are on this direction. I just want to challenge you as we look at all these other rights, and a lot of things have been presented, a lot of things have been said. Let us remember as young people that it is also our responsibility to talk about the fundamental rights of human beings, including the right to adequate food. And that is the work that we are doing. That is the work that we are doing at Root to Food. You can join the Root to Food Alliance. You can join us to support the work that we are doing, because at the end of the day, as long as someone is hungry in this country, then we have not achieved the right to food. And as it has been said, it doesn't have to be you. Is it pleasant to look at someone who is hungry on the street? Is it pleasant to hear news of people dying of hunger? Imagine that. Is it pleasant to be a young person in Nairobi today who is not guaranteed about their meal on the 1st of January? Who is guaranteed that they're going to have something on 1st of January? Think about that. It's all about us, and all of us need to champion for the right to food. I think I'll end my talk there, but you can follow us on Root to Food, you can join the alliance, you can advocate for the right to adequate food. Let no one say that that is a second agenda. As well as food safety is not a second agenda to food security. So we need to stand up as young people, and we need to defend these rights. Because if we don't do, no one else will do. Thank you.
All right. No problem, gentlemen. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proceeding with this amazing session, listening to the voice of young people in democracy and human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, now I take this opportunity to welcome again another activist, very strong in the space. She has been there, and today she has a story to tell. Put your hands together as I welcome on stage Sisi Babu.
I'm good, thank you. I didn't take that because I'm too short, so it's better. I greet you all in the name of Audrey Lord, and in her words, I affirm you. I say, there is no single issue struggle, for we do not live single issue lives. Therefore, there is nothing like disability rights, farmers' rights, Black rights, gay rights, women's rights, or even children's rights. They're all just human rights. And all humans should be free to love, to not just survive but thrive, to dream, to exist on their own terms, and to own themselves, to be without fear, and experience the joy of being themselves without shrinking. Hi everyone. My name is Sisi Babu, and I am a trans non-binary person. I'm a performing artist, an art therapist, and an educator. I laugh loudly. I love books and conversations. I also love creating content and developing concepts, though I don't have a hang of TikTok yet. I have a very loud voice. Maybe you can hear it right now. And I sing at the top of my voice. Mostly it's off-key. Dance is the only language I speak fluently. And I believe in nonviolence, but I make exceptions. Because you either survive long enough to make them fear you, or you go down swinging. I studied medicine, and now it just helps me in fights.
to figure out where to hit, nothing much. I'm majorly religionless, but I have great ancestors, and the universe is kind. I'm the child of a freedom fighter, and the only freedom fighters I believe in are Aline Sitoe and Thomas Sankara. I love Winnie Madikizela, and I think Nelson Mandela is a sellout. I love giving random facts about nature, like most poachers, the ones who died in the wild, were mostly killed by horny elephants, and all giraffes are gay. We can discuss that after this. So, I am a partner to one of the most kind and beautiful human person I've ever met. And I wanted to say that out loud. She's so amazing, and in this moment I honor her. Hey, Bambi. As maybe right now you could have figured, I am part of the LGBT community, or as KOT calls it, the alphabet mafia. And yes, I have to say that. It is important to me and very relevant to this conversation we're having today. It is part of who I am, a part that has shaped how I'm perceived and therefore experienced this world. This month is Trans Month of Remembrance, and so in this conversation, I choose to honor my trans ancestors, friends, and siblings who became so that I could be who I am today. It's amazing to be a wildcard. Today, I'm here as an activist, as an artist, as a trans person, as a queer person, and most importantly, as an awkward human being. I'm going to invite you into my space. This is not a coming out story or a place for you to feed your curiosity. I'm not here to educate or teach you, but to question you and your privilege. I'm here because my experiences and my existence and being is part of the youth narrative in this colonial camp we call a country. I'm not here as a token or a representative or a way for this conversation to mark a diversity mark. I'm here because it's my right. I'm here because I believe in a better tomorrow. I'm here because there is no inclusion without naming the people or their stories. So walk with me. I want to tell you a story. At 9 was the first time I heard the word gay. My mom told me I'm gay because I had a crush on Fanny. One time I tell you the story of Fanny. At 11, I heard the word gay for the second time, as South Africa was the first African country to legalize gay marriage. Like, marriage for people like me is not just marriage. It has to have an adjective, a prefix. Gay marriage, gay relationships, like it has to be othered. And the backlash after the South African decision is still felt to this date. As we see queer bodies are littering the streets from Jozi to Pretoria and back. In 2016, a man walks into a Pulse club in Orlando and kills 49 queer people, and 53 more are wounded. My heart still has to grieve in secret because even in grief, I cannot kill my people. I have to find hidden spots to cry for people that I never got to know but still felt their pain to the end. You might be wondering where I'm going with this. I am too. So please, keep walking with me. In 2018, I talk about my gender and sexuality for the very first time in public. And I don't get booked for another show for almost 2 years. No one wants to have a queer artist in their lineup. Somehow, my queerness has finally found a way to, French word, fuck my life. The battle is finally at my doorstep. In 2019, I watched a video of a trans woman being beaten by a mob in Mathare. A day after the High Court turned down the case on decriminalizing homosexuality. They tell us that it's God's decision for this country to remain as is. They tell us this is a Christian nation. The Constitution says otherwise. But no mainstream activist is willing to talk about it. The LGBT issue in this country is something they'd rather pretend doesn't exist. The president told you, Anne, that there are no queer people in my country, and if they're there, they are a non-issue. That same day he said that there are no women dying in this country. That same year, UN ranked Kenya number 5 on the deaths of women worldwide. The bodies were heaping, and the silence was the curtain covering them. We are accomplices to murder. So today, I want to tell everyone who's seated in this room that the blood of all queer people being killed in this country, those who've been maimed and brutalized, they're all in your hands. For I believe by you choosing to be here today, you believe in justice, in human rights. You say injustice somewhere, is injustice everywhere. But look away when people like me are the ones on the line of fire. You claim Pan-Africanism only when you want to talk about the power you want black men to acquire. Then talk about it is against our African culture, or invoke your God only when people are dying. The only deaths that matter in this country have been of only rich, straight men. I'm not here to ask for your acceptance or support. We don't need it. We never have. You need to support yourself to see the trail of lies in your system. I'm here to call out your cognitive dissonance. Your choice to stay obtuse or neutral in a space where your voices could have saved lives. Because the same system that is killing youths in Madari, Danora, and Kayole is the same one asking women what they were wearing when they got raped. The same system that is enabling tyrants to rule over us is the same one neglecting the queer people being killed in Kakuma and Dada. This system that you praise when queer movies are being banned is the same one coming for your music and artistry. This system that you clap for when it beats down on people you don't think deserve rights is the same one that is coming for your son in the streets. The system that you say is making men lead in suicide cases is the same reason for queer people being 4 times more likely to die by suicide. The same system killing black people in the USA is the same system killing Oromos and Tigres. The fingers pulling the triggers are the ones changing, but the system protecting them is the same. And through all this, I noticed that queer people have never been the issue. The problem is your Christianity and religiosity. Your lost Africanness hiding your bigotry. Your constant need to shrink and cut off parts of you. That when you see people living their truths, you feel you need to rein them in. The problem is your government that is rooted in colonization and imperialism. The problem is truth you have accepted for yourselves, the way you have believed that people cannot be unless you prove. Who are you? The belief that you have the power to question people's humanity, the right to exist and occupy space. That belief belongs to those who enslaved and colonized you. Kill those beliefs. For no matter how well you try to fit in, there is no right way to exist in a system that was created to oppress you. No amount of money or manliness can save you. Eventually, this system is coming to eat you. So as you look the other way, know the system is connected. We either abolish all of it or let it kill all of us. For none of us is safe. Our chains are the same. Maybe yours are in gold. They're still chains. And so it is either we are all free or we go down together. This is not a fight we can leave to just some few people. Because freedom has never been an individual's job. It is a collective duty. It is for community. We have all have to be free, for all of us to be considered to be free. And maybe you really don't care about queer lives or queer people being illegally detained and maimed in this country. Why should you? You want Africa to be clean of this white people behavior. You will never know what African culture looks like if it hits you square on the face in broad daylight. So how dare you? You who has never touched a book to read on anything other than the 844 propaganda you were fed. You who has never been there in those old African days that you claim. You can claim your bigotry and your hateful violence without insulting our intelligence. Feel free to wield your legal power without gaslighting us. At least when this revolution gets here, we will know the side you picked. Because queer people are going to be free. This system is going to die. I know it will. And I may not live to see it, but I know that one day I will be an ancestor to children of freedom. Before that day comes, I have made my peace with the possibility of my death at the hands of this system. By standing here today, I have made my peace with the consequences of these very actions. By choosing to be me, I know it is just a matter of chance. My only question is, have you? Are you ready for the day this system comes for its pound of flesh? Your silence will never protect you. For we all have to be free, for all of us to be free. And if you're silent in the face of oppression, you are part of the oppressors. So oppression only thrives in silence, and we are all going to die. The question is, will it be on your knees begging or on our feet fighting? May freedom and love guide you all. Thank you.
All right. That was Sisi Bravo, ladies and gentlemen. And now, last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we now bring on stage a Pan-African feminist, a human rights defender, and the strength of a woman. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as I introduce Rachel Mwikali.
Wow. Thank you, comrades. It's such an honor, at the same time a challenge, to talk after powerful speakers. But what I say as a mantra, it takes Pusipa also to be on this stage. So, I know we have talked with a lot of comrades on how I need to do this presentation. I've been given marking scheme, you need to look good like this, you need to wear ILs, and I'm not an IL person. But today I've tried, I want to make the grassroots proud, yeah? So I want us to give a reflections of the struggle I've been through, both personal, which makes me the fights that I fight, being also privileged, despite I come from slums, to the aluminium apartment, and not affirming that my privilege is a marking scheme of all the women in the ground, of all the youth in the ground. I'm privileged, I can speak English. I can come to this stage and I understand the language a bit. But I want to go back. There's been a lot of narrative about Rachel Mwikali. Who is Rachel Mwikali? What does she do? Some other people will identify me as noisemaker, troublesome, complicated, smiling, pussy power, feminist, activist, like all intersectionality of identity. But standing here, I'm agitated. At the same time, I'm hopeful. I'm agitated, going back, being a feminist. I was 13 years in this relationship with someone older like me, but I was not married. That journey wasn't a walk in the park. Most people in this room, I put my respect to all of you. You have been part of this journey. It's not easy living in Mathare, in former settlements, where we have a population of more than 500,000 people, in a 10 by 10 households, in a blended family, and not in a privileged family. And then in this relationship that you don't have choice, first as a child at 13 years, someone who was a bit older than me, so there was no consent. Now I can have consent who to love, who to be with, and who to have sex with, based on my consent and proudly meaningful sex. But that time, I didn't have that power. Yeah, that time I didn't have that power when I used to be abused on a daily basis, being beaten, because I refused one. I'm not going to have a child, because also I have my own dreams. I'm not going to conform to patriarchal spaces and patriarchal decision towards my body. Somehow, the same community that I love, the same folks who are my friend that I really loved, will say like, Rachel, she's very problematic. Why would you go to report your partner or your boyfriend? You're a child, Maki, you're not 18 years. It was really painful moment. And I think in my journey, that's what made me be agitated so much to be an activist. And that's why I'm very clear in terms of organizing and movement building from the ground, not from the top. I'm very clear in terms of understanding that most of us are activists, including Mwikali, because of the work we do. Either we have gone through oppression, direct or indirectly. Either we are doing the activism we are doing because we feel it's important for that democracy to be practical and not in a document. And if there are also a group of women that I really love, they're called Mother and Mothers Development Center. It was tough. And you know, if you're a girl in this Kenya and you're below 18 years, people will be like, but you wanted to sleep with a man and you're a child. We have seen it even in 2020 when COVID was hard. Everybody was blaming the girls and humanizing the perpetrators and not the guy. My point of choosing me and becoming a feminist, when I'm asked, what's your point of liberation, is when I chose to walk out. That's my first point of liberation. It was not to walk in the park, as all of you will know. It was those moments you'll be told, if you want to walk safely in this Madare, walk with a horse. You know horse? It is that time that guy will tell me, if you want to be safe, walk through the electricity wire. So you can imagine if you walk through the electricity wire, what will happen? You get electric shock. So it was painful, but I'm not here to normalize pain, but at the same time, I'm here to put the power that the pain we go through should not be doubted. The pain you go through is what makes us come with our organic formation of movements. I recall back more than 5 years ago, there was a very powerful feminist convening here in Nairobi. I was the tiniest, the petite, not now that I have flash. But I remember we were all in Highway. And I'm here also to critique the point that as much as you're talking about democracy, we need to put into practical the right to assemble, the right to associate, the right to information, and the right to mobilize, if we want democracy to be practical. We know with the Public Orders Act, in Kenya, what has been an interest, as much as the status quo says you need to give a notice to either your OCS or your village elder to demonstrate. But with this right-wing government and oppressive government, when they know you're coming to fight for our rights, they'll say no. So as we went on the streets, it was a Pan-African feminist movement. And I remember when we were to Highway, we have streets who don't know Nairobi. You know the street of Nairobi, they are very, like it's hard to get which street I passed. Here I am, the petite, there's a GSU truck coming at Uru Highway. Then the guy gets out with a rungu. He starts attacking the women. This is a GSU truck. Then I was like, I can't see anybody around. The ones I see are sisters from Mozambique. It was a powerful march that was organized by World March of Women. The next person I saw being hit by the rungu by the GSU guy was Winnie Obure. And I went on a rescue despite I was young. Everybody left. I chose to go to confront the GSU guy. What do you think happened next? The next thing, I found myself, I was carried up to Freedom Corner. I'd fainted, had injuries, and everybody was like, you're a hero. Everyone was like, you're a hero. It was the first time I was told I was a hero. Most of the time, and I know this is a reality to comrades, we fight, we feel the fights, we fight, we are never appreciated. The trauma we have gone rising up, fighting for this country is never appreciated. But comrade, I can assure you, some of the fights we fight, we live to see the fruits. Some of the fights we fight, even in this country, the movements we have come with organically from the ground, like End Femicide KE, we have seen the results despite we have a lot of work to do. Now I want to focus in terms of intersectionality. Like the way I said, I'm from Madara, I can speak English. Yes. Sometimes when I get mad, when people ask me, but you don't have a dent in your eyes, or why don't you have a child? I was the luckiest one. And that's why I said I'm not a marking scheme of ticking boxes. I should have been a statistic of, let's say, died because of unsafe abortion. I should have been I'm now a statistic of GBV. Now being a feminist, I can be able to analyze defilement, inequality, being a young woman, you're victimizing spaces, being in spaces where if you can't express yourself in a certain way, you're never heard. So what I'm trying to say is that there's no one right is dependent on its own. They all intersect and intersect in each power. The reason Mwekali and Mwekali, and the reason why Pussy Power is very vibrant is because we look at those intersectionality. That you can't say I'm talking about EJs and not femicides. You can't say I'm talking about corruption and not patriarchy. You can't. You can't say I'm saying NGBV and as a guy you're not calling out your fellow men who are abusers. You can't. There's no black and white. You don't need a law degree. I don't have a law degree for me to be a defender. All you need is your mantra, what is pushing you for. We are all eager for change. All of us want to have a good life, true or false, comrades in the room, my fellow young people. All of us want to live a dignified life where you're not seen as second-class citizen. I love when one of the speakers said, power is not given. That's how even me, I take it. Power is grabbed. If you want our freedom, we need to fight for freedom. There's no if, there's no buts. When I realized that I couldn't stay in that relationship, there's a lot at stake. It cost me my academic, my personal life, how even I relate to men, women, myself. But I feel proud the fact I took that energy and that rage to organize, to be in human rights spaces, to be a feminist, an apologetically African proud, mad, angry, agitated feminist, and an activist, and a community organizer. I feel proud to my community, to Team CJHD for all the love and everybody who has nurtured me in my own awesomeness, my bad ways, draining moments, to continue the energy. Youth, I'm a youth, I'm a young woman. We are just said, we are 75%, we are 52%. Can you translate that to action? Comrades, can you translate that to action? To action, we're going to election. Are we going to vote based on ideology? I know most of us now have voters apathy. They're like, no, they'll still. But if you want to change the status quo, the right of voting. At the same time, let's be active citizens. Let's agitate, let's support activists. A lot of activists, we have been losing a lot of activists, women human rights defenders because of our own mental well-being. And when we break, people say we are mad, we are crazy, they are drug abusers, they are drug users. But if all of us even talk about self-care, Mwekali will relax, will sleep when each one of us speak. Emily will relax, or Kofi relax, then will relax. Can you relax when all of us speak? So, movement is the way to go. I know there's a lot of discussion about unionization of struggle. NGO have their own role, movements have their own role. And I'm happy to see ForumCiv chairperson, Elena from the Embassy, Kathy, Jackson, Ingrid, and Annika. One thing I'll put to you as a challenge, and not a challenge that's putting you on sports, continue investing on young people. Continue investing on Wajibu if you want to see more of Mwekali. Continue investing on us as young people in terms of where we are and where we are going. The future is not the future if there's no involvement of young people and young women. And we really appreciate the support you have given. This comes back, and the time is running, this comes back to investing in the grassroots community. I know comrades are like, if you don't say this, don't come to Malaya to grassroots. But it's really important. We are professionals as activists, but you need also capacity building. And to be trusted also with resources for us to move forward. You trust us, the resources they have been trusting us. And I know together, we are not going to betray this country. And for you to be a good activist, feminist, it doesn't matter university. Read and research. Read and do what? Viva comrades, viva! Viva! Viva comrades, viva! Viva! Pussy! And welcome to Kusipa Festival 2021.
Round of applause. Pussy. That was Rachel Mwikali, as always. All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about now we want to appreciate our speakers. I want to welcome them back here on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as they come. Pigeni makofi jamani. We talk about voices in spaces. This is a very good demonstration of youth voices in spaces. Congratulations. Keep on clapping as they come, please. I love the energy. Tell your neighbor I love the energy. I love the energy. It's democracy, ladies and gentlemen. Democracy and Rights Festival, courtesy of ForumCiv, Swedish Embassy. Of course, we're here with the voice of young people. Now, we were supposed to have a plenary here, but because of time now, and we have another session outside there, we want this opportunity for you people to all stand. Now we appreciate these voices. Please let us stand. Yes. Taking space as young leaders, continue to hold hands together as you guys cheer. Comrades power! Comrades power! Viva young people, viva! Viva young people, viva! Viva young people, viva! We want to hear the voice of 75% of the Kenyan population as we appreciate these young leaders here. And they will be going down and up as you cheer. Right? Smiling faces, my brothers and sisters. Yeah? What a talk it was, right? So I want to appreciate them. So, and I also hear, you know. So you also appreciate me. So we up and down as we cheer. Are we ready? Yes. Are we ready? Yes. Yes. I want to hear the voice of the 5%. Pussy power. I know you love that. Yeah? Pussy power. Pussy power. All right. Let us appreciate these great speakers. Youth voices in the spaces. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Let us cheer. Thank you, Tamba. Thank you, William. Thank you, Shiko. Thank you, Rachel Mikari. Thank you, Sue. Ladies and gentlemen, now, Tribeless power! Tribeless power! Democracy viva! All right, so just now, ladies and gentlemen, say this is a festival. Now we have an opportunity. We need to go to the open space outside, open arena. We have another great session, open exhibition, engagement. So, and also we have lunch organized for you. Yeah. I feel you now. I hear some noise here. What lunch house, all right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are free. We can stand and use the two exits. We go outside of the space. There is another session outside there, very important for all of us. We can all join. Keep on clapping. Let's go.
Keep on clapping.
Thank you.
Keep on clapping.
DJ.
Ah,